Hey, welcome back. It's Jason Walter here. In today's video, I have a ton of real estate market updates to share with you, including a brand new report that was just announced today regarding home prices and home sales in the United States. And I'll give you a hint. Existing home sales jumped to a 14-year high and home prices set another record. And if you're new here, welcome. I post real estate market updates on how this pandemic is affecting our real estate market as well as personal finance topics. So if you haven't subscribed already, I invite you to do so and join the family. And by the way, at the time of this video, I have 9,928 subscribers. So we're almost at 10,000. So I greatly appreciate everyone who has subscribed to this channel and has watched my videos. At the end of February, I only had 337 subscribers. So I'm absolutely blown away by everyone's support. So I greatly appreciate that. Thank you so much. And let's go ahead and dive into the video. It was just announced today by the National Association of Realtors that existing home sales in the United States increased to the highest level since 2006. Sales increased 2.4% in August. This marks 3 consecutive months of strong sales increases in the United States. However, of course, this wasn't the case when this pandemic hit, because if you recall from my previous videos over the last few months, home sales fell 9.7% in May, and they also dropped a whopping 26.6% from May 2019 to May 2020. This was obviously during a time that many real estate agents across the country weren't even allowed to meet with their clients face-to-face, so it's very challenging to sell houses obviously during that time. However, the restrictions on real estate agents eased and then interest rates dropped, and we also had a lot of people who were being allowed to work from home. So because of all this, home sales skyrocketed to a record level of 20.7% in June, even though housing inventory at the time was down 18.2% from 1 year ago. July also hit record levels as sales of existing homes surged 24.7%. This was at a time when total housing inventory was down 21.1% from 1 year ago. Now we have August sales that have increased, but now at a much slower pace. We're up 2.4% from July and up 10.5% from a year ago. Now you may be wondering, why have August home sales increased, but not at the same level that we saw in June and July, for example? And I have a theory about this, so I'd love to know your thoughts about this. During this time when we typically have a surge of real estate sales in any given year, that tends to happen in the spring. However, this year when we had the pandemic that hit in March, we had the stay-home orders in late March to April. That was really during normal times when we had a surge of activity. However, during that time, real estate agents across the United States in many areas weren't even allowed to meet with their clients face-to-face. So I believe that we had the surge of real estate sales in June and July this year in the middle of summer because of this pandemic. Therefore, I would expect sales growth to be modest at best for the remainder of the year, but we will see. Going back to this August real estate sales report, each of the 4 major regions had a month-over-month and year-over-year increase, while the Northeast had the biggest improvement from the previous month. The National Association of Realtors also reported a new record high for home prices. So now the median home price in the US rose to $310,000, which is an 11.4% increase from August 2019. This was the second time ever that the US median home price rose above $300,000. And last month in July was the previous high. We've now had 102 straight months of year-over-year gains, and that's almost 8.5 years of gains, which is quite remarkable. In Sacramento County, where I live and work as a real estate agent, the median home price has increased 10.4% compared to a year ago, but only 0.5% from last month. However, the lack of housing inventory in the United States continues to be an issue. So for example, inventory decreased 0.7% from July and 18.6% from 1 year ago. This means at the end of August, on average, there was 19% less houses available for sale for home buyers, and this equates to less options for home buyers, which of course creates stiff competition for those houses that are listed for sale. This is also a huge problem in Sacramento County where I live because housing inventory has plunged 49.7% from 1 year ago. And I've talked about this over and over again in my real estate market updates, but the lack of housing inventory plus record low interest rates, couple that with the pent up demand from this pandemic, has really caused the number of home sales and home prices to continue to increase. And bottom line, we need more houses to be built. In my last real estate market update about July sales, I reported some positive news regarding home building in the United States because housing starts in July increased 23% from the previous month and also increased about 23% compared to 1 year ago. Again, that's housing starts in the United States. However, that has completely changed because the U.S. Census Bureau reported a few days ago that building permits is down 0.9%, which is down 0.1% from a year ago. In addition, housing starts decreased 5.1%, and housing completions is down 7.5% from July, which is down 2.4% from 1 year ago. Now, home builder confidence is at an all-time high, which is great. However, what is hampering construction of new houses is the cost of actually building those houses. So for example, lumber prices are now up more than 170% since mid-April when this pandemic really hit us. That adds more than $16,000 to the price of a typical new single-family home in the United States. To give you some further context about increasing costs, my wife and I were actually looking for new kitchen appliances about a year ago. And at that time, we were told that appliances were going to be increasing in cost by about 10 to 20%, thanks to the tariffs and the trade war that was going on at the time, and also it's still going on. So the question is, who pays for these tariffs? And the answer is that the consumers do, because the manufacturers pass on this expense down to the consumers. So one would assume that the extra cost of building a house by home builders is going to have to be passed on to home buyers. And the question is, at what cost? Surely at some point in time, it's going to affect affordability of brand new houses. In my opinion, for the lumber issue, we are going to need more domestic lumber production in the months to come, as well as tariff relief in order to avoid a slowdown in the market in the months to come. And certainly the wildfires in the West is not helping with that at all. For example, Weyerhaeuser, which is the nation's largest lumber producer, announced just a few days ago that several of the fires have reached the company's timberlands. The National Association of Realtors chief economist stated it very well, and he said that housing demand is robust, but supply is not. And this imbalance will harm affordability and hinder ownership opportunities. To assure broad gains in homeownership, more homes need to be constructed. And by the way, I'm curious, are you looking for a house to buy right now? I'd love to know your thoughts about this and also what kind of experience you're having across the United States. So comment below with what your thoughts are and your experience is right now with buying a house. And I know it can be very challenging and also very frustrating for home buyers right now across the United States, and especially in those areas where we have a lack of housing inventory and stiff buyer competition. So I really feel for you if you are currently looking for a house and are having a hard time getting your offer accepted. And going back to the National Association of Realtors August home sales report, they also report that houses are selling faster on average in the United States. So the average days on the market for August was 22 days, and that was equal to about what we saw in July. However, this is down from 31 days from last year, so houses are selling about 30% faster than a year ago. In addition, first-time home buyers accounted for about 33% of all sales in August this year, and this was on par with the previous month. Additionally, they also reported that investor and second home purchases in the United States accounted for 14% of all sales in August, and this was about equal to July 2020. However, that figure was only 9% in June 2020, so we went from 9% to 14% in August. And I'm guessing that a lot of these sales that occurred in August wasn't really from investor activity. I believe it was more from second home purchases as the wealthy and the upper class bought houses outside the city limits during this pandemic. Foreclosures and short sales are obviously at still very low levels because we have a moratorium on foreclosures and evictions right now. So they only represent about 1% of all sales in August. Okay, changing gears slightly, let's talk about mortgage news. And the average for a 30-year fixed mortgage is holding steady at an average of 2.87%. And Freddie Mac's chief economist stated the following. He said, in August, first-time homebuyer activity rose 19% from July to the highest monthly level ever for Freddie Mac. I found this interesting because over the last month or so, I've represented 2 first-time home buyers who have moved from the Bay Area to Sacramento and also found me on YouTube. And by the way, if you're interested in moving to Sacramento, California or the outlying areas, I have a ton of videos about what it's like to live here. I'll leave a link in the description below or somewhere up here so you can take a look at those videos. Please hit the like button. I greatly appreciate that. Also, don't forget to click on the link below because for a limited time, WeBull is giving away 1 free stock, potentially valued up to $1,600 when you deposit $100 on WeBull's platform. And by the way, that promotion is running for a limited time. Please subscribe to this channel. I'll keep you updated with new developments. Also, you can follow me on Instagram. I'm Sacramento Realtor. Hope you have an awesome day and look forward to seeing you on the next video.